Hey, what's up everyone? Super brief video today, really straightforward. This is Marvel Age preview issue number 1, not the first issue of Marvel Age, which I've done videos about before. This is the first preview issue from late spring, early summer 1990. What is its connection to the Star Wars EU? Well, it's not content per se, but this does make sort of an obscure contribution to our understanding of Star Wars EU publishing history. Why is that? Because this is the only place that we know of that actually advertised what was supposed to be Marvel's Dark Empire run. So in 1990, here we are, Marvel is conceiving of and advertising a 3-issue limited series by Veach and Kennedy, roughly related to what we come to know of as the Dark Horse Dark Empire story. Now, there's a very general blurb in here. Han and Leia are getting married, Luke's already recruiting Padawan. Now, from what we know from other interviews and just sort of the deep history of Dark Empire, which has been well documented, I don't need to go through all of that. This was, originally supposed to take place after Endor. An imposter Vader was going to be sort of, exploited to sort of continue to sort of sow chaos and confusion into the galaxy. That idea is basically replaced by like a returned clone emperor, which it's always ambiguous depending on the interview. It's either something that Lucas himself actually thought of or certainly approved of in lieu of using Vader. But in any event, in 1990, even though Marvel hadn't been publishing Star Wars comics for several years by this point, here we go. We were going to get back into it, and something that's effectively marketed, right, and billed as a sequel, really, to the original trilogy. Obviously, what is advertised here and what we ultimately get is slightly sort of different. Dark Horse, right after this gets the license, this product moves right on over with that license. Kind of fun to think about what would have happened if Marvel had continued to publish Star Wars. Would we have gotten the same type of stories? I think it's pretty universally deemed by most EU fans that those early Dark Horse years are just phenomenal. It would have been really interesting to sort of see what Star Wars EU life in the comic sense would have been like under Marvel. At this point, it's 1990, right? We still don't have Heir to the Empire. In fact, there's some controversies, and I've talked about this in numerous other videos. Given where this is originally supposed to be set in the timeline, there's some controversy because Zahn was actually asked to make some minor tweaks to some timelines just to sort of match with this, and he basically refuses, basically wins out. Dark Empire needs to be slightly sort of slided up and down the scale, just depending, right? I don't think it's until Kevin Anderson that you start to see some of these Dark Empire references actually get worked into the the mainline adult novels and stuff, but some very early confusion, unfortunately, thanks to Timothy Zahn not being willing to play ball. But in any event, 1990 Marvel Comics advertising a 1990 version of Star Wars Dark Empire, just a fun, obscure piece of Star Wars publishing lore, which you can pretty much only find here in Marvel Age Preview issue number 1 from 1990. Not in my experience, hard issue to find. Most of these are relatively easy to find, except where things like this, there's just fun little advertisements, fun little obscure things. Some people collect these for the cover art. I mean, here you've got like an early McFarlane Spider-Man and stuff. So some people like this. I mean, the previous Marvel Age that relates to Star Wars EU that I've done a video on is much harder to find. Why? Because Stan Lee's on the cover, and that's just a much more sought after edition, but they're really fun to pick up. Really great walk down memory lane, whether you're interested in Star Wars of the period or even just Marvel Comics or comics in general. I mean, boy, 1990, it's got the classic, crispy newsprint paper, and you just gotta love the way it looks, the way these colors are starting to bleed together. You just can't get that with modern comics. So it's a fun artifact of its day, but again, a super obscure glimpse into something that could have been. So the Marvel Star Wars Dark Empire, basically only found in Marvel Age Preview issue 1.